Hello guys, my name is Ali and welcome back to Tips for IELTS Listening. So today's lesson we will cover some of the tips for short answer question type. So the short answer question type is particularly common in the part 2 of IELTS listening test. And this will be a monologue in an everyday social context. So your job is to listen to the recording and fill in the blank, fill in the word, a short answer for each blank. And normally, sometimes, for the instruction, the question will require to write more than just one answer. For example, you can see this question above on the board. What are the two major concerns for students regarding their accommodation? All right, so this you have to read carefully for the question. They ask 1, 2, or 3 short answers that you need to fill in. All right, so now you can see an example that I put here on the board. All right, so now for the question, short answer question type, the format will normally happen like this. All right, so it's like a sentence or summary completion, but a little bit different. All right, so you would have to read the question first and then answer the question by listening to the audio. And then for the instructions, carefully read the limitation of word and number that you can write in the blank. All right, so we have 3 questions and each question will require 1, 2, or 3 answers for each one. Alright, so now let's go to some of the steps and tips when you do this kind of question. Alright, so it would be a little bit similar to the sentence or summary or even table completion. Alright, so the first thing first, you need to read the instructions carefully. You would always have some time for yourself to overview and read the instruction as well as the general format of the general meaning or content of the listening test. Alright, so first read the instructions like I said. Pay attention on the limitation of words and numbers that you can fill in the blank. Alright, so number 2 is the answer order. So keep in mind that in this kind of question type, the answer order will follow the information in the listening audio, right? So it will follow like information for question number 1, 2, and then 3. So if you ever miss an information when you listen, so try to skip it and then follow up with the continuing listening audio. Otherwise, you're going to miss the whole audio and the whole listening question type. All right, so this one, you need to, pay attention. You need to read carefully for each question as well as the instructions. Understand fully what kind of answer, what kind of question they want to ask. Right, and then we come to the next part after reading the instructions and carefully reading the question as well. We come to the next part is to predict the answer. Alright, so how do we predict? You are going to predict what kind of information we need. Is it a date, a number, a name, or a location? And then predict the type of word that you are going to fill in based on the grammar. Alright, so grammar, it could be a noun, an adjective, a verb, or adverb, or a preposition. Alright, so pay attention and try to predict any kind of possibility that will happen when you fill in the blank. Alright, next step, like I always say in every completion title question, alright, is that you would have to find a synonym and paraphrase the questions when you listen to the audio. Because keep in mind that when you listen to the audio, they won't say exactly 100% the word that you see on the paper. Alright, so now your job is to list out all of the possibilities of words that you're going to encounter when you listen that also has the same meaning with the words you see on the paper. Alright, so now let's see these 2 sentences that you would have to paraphrase and find a synonym. Alright, so the first sentence you see, what time does the farm park open? Alright, so now you need to underline the keywords. What are the keywords in this question? First we have time. Time, farm park, and then open. It means that what kind of time? The time for the opening of the farm park. Alright, so now what about the open is a verb, and can you find any other synonym to paraphrase this one? First, maybe I'm going to have like start. What time does the farm park start working? Or what time does the farm park welcome their visitors? Alright, so you are going to find a synonyms that have the same meaning that relate to the same question, the meaning of the word like open. It means to start working for the opening business, right? Okay, so for the next question, which 2 attractions that are most popular with visitors? Alright, so the keywords in this one that you must know. So first, you have to understand that they require 2 short answers. So you have to listen to 2 information and fill in the blank. And the keywords in this one first is attractions, and then most popular, and then visitors. So now you need to find any synonyms to paraphrase these 3 words. So attractions, first we normally known as tourist attractions. And you can find other words like tourist destinations or places of interest. Alright, and next one, popular, we have common, famous, well-known, or even favorites. Alright, and lastly is visitors. We have traveler, visitors, where do I say, sightseers. Alright, next part is problematic vocabulary. So there, in this kind of question, you will listen to some common words and common vocabulary that you will encounter in this kind of question. So there are 6 types of vocabulary that you are going to listen and get familiar with them. Alright, so first one is time. Time, dates, addresses, prices, numbers, and letters. Alright, so these 6, you need to get yourself familiar listening to them or identify them in an audio so that you can know, exactly know what they are talking about, what kind of numbers or what kind of information they are mentioning. So practice listening these kind of common vocabulary when it comes to this type of short answer question or any kind of question. Alright, last but not least is to watch out for some distractors or dangers. So in IELTS listening test, the examiner really like to test your English ability by setting up a lot of traps. So your job is to understand fully to the listening audio and identify what kind of trap and what kind of information you need to listen. Alright, so some of the distractors that you might encounter that commonly happen was some of the words or even phrases. But some of the words here, just like but, however, otherwise, on the other hand. Alright, so for example, this sentence, I would say, how about meeting up at 7:30? Alright, so if first you listen to this, you would write down, okay, 7:30 is my answer. However, the listening, like the audio, doesn't stop there. Doesn't stop there, is going to continue with this kind of question, in sentence. However, I just remember that I have an appointment at 8 o'clock. Can we move it up to 9? Alright, so what would be the correct answer for this one? If you listen carefully, you are going to identify the distractor in this one is however, which means the speaker already changes their idea and their answer. So the correct and the final one that you're going to write down on the paper is 9 p.m. Alright, so now I'm going to give you an example for this kind of question. And you're going to listen and write down all of your answers.
At Eastover Farm Park, we're celebrating our most successful year to date. A family visit is definitely recommended, as there's something for everyone to enjoy, from toddlers to the grandparents. Get there early though, as we're busy most days, but especially at weekends. Be at the gates at 9:30 when Farmer Tom unlocks, and you can be the first visitors inside. There's enough to see and do to keep you busy all day. Pick up a free map to find your way around and locate all the attractions. Where will you start? Will it be the excitement of the Big Dipper, the milking parlour to see some real farm work, or a cuddle with the rabbits and guinea pigs in the pets corner? Voted favourite feature for the past 5 years, our pet area has been knocked off pole position this year by a new boating lake and the miniature steam train. When you're in need of refreshments, head to the cafe or bring your own lunch to enjoy around the many picnic tables spread across the park. And don't forget to check feeding times if you want to watch our keepers giving the animals their midday meal. We love it that many of our guests come back time and time again, and we're always working to develop the park for the future. Over this winter, we'll be digging and stocking a trout fishing lake. You can bring your own rod or hire one on site. We also intended to install a bouncy castle, until a visitor survey revealed that outdoor trampolines would be far more popular. So we're giving you what you asked for. Happy bouncing!
Alright, so have you guys answered all of the questions yet? And now it's time for me to review all of the answers. Alright, so for answer number 1, the correct information you write down would be 9:30. All right, so 9:30, you can write down 9:30 or 9:30 a.m. It depends on the instructions that you see, that you read at the beginning of the listening audio. All right, so why is it 9:30? So the sentence that identifies this information is here. Be at the gate, right? Be at the gate at 9:30 when the farmer park unlocks. Then you would be the first visitor inside. All right, so here they use a synonym. They don't use the word open like I said. So the synonym here is unlock. Unlock the door. And right, be at the gate at 9:30 when they unlock the door, and then you will be able to get inside. All right, so comes to the second question with 2 answers. What would be yours? All right, so my answer is new boating lake and miniature steam train. All right, so let's see the question. Let's look at a question that identifies these 2 information. All right, so you can see the sentence over here. All right, voted favorite feature for the past 5 years. Our pet area has been knocked off pole position this year by a new boating lake and a steam train, a miniature steam train. All right, so for this one, you're going to find a synonym first. So for attraction, they use the word feature, and for popular, they use the word favorite. So combined together, they don't say in like 2 different sentences, but combined together, they say the word favorite feature. Right, so voted for favorite feature for the past 5 years, and you already know that this sentence mentioned what kind of answers you need to hear. All right, so pay attention to this. They mentioned about 3 kinds of different attractions. Pet area, right? Pet area, boating lake, and then steam train. But which one is correct? All right. So first, they mentioned about pet area. If you listen like halfway, you're going to write down this one first. But we have a distractor. Can you identify a distractor in this one? Right. So it would be a phrase, knocked off pole. Right, so knocked off pole, it means that something has been replaced, the position by something else. So in this one, the new boating lake and the miniature steam train have already replaced the favorite positions or the favorite ranking of the pet area. So the correct answer for this one would be these 2, boating lake and steam train. All right, for the last question, let's see. Name 2 improvements that are planned in the venue next year. All right, the keywords here would be improvements and planned. So what about the synonyms? You have to give out all of the synonyms that you already know for this question. All right, so the answers we have is trout fishing lake and outdoor trampolines. So let's see the keywords, the answer keys, the passage that identify these 2 answers. So first, let's take a look at this one. How do you identify this passage is going to give you the right information? First, we have this sentence. We always work to develop. We're always working to develop this place, all right? So the word develop has the same meaning with improve. So improvement and development, which means that you already identify this is the passage. You need to listen. And then come to the next sentences. Over this winter. Over this winter mentioned about the next season, right? Over this winter, we're going to dig and have a trout fishing lake. So first answer is that trout fishing lake. All right, what about the second one? The second one, if you listen carefully, you might write down the word bouncing, right? You might write down another different word. So let's see the next sentences to identify the second answer. All right, so this second sentence is a little bit tricky because they included a distractor. All right, so let's see. We also intended to install a bouncy castle until the survey revealed that the outdoor trampolines is more attractive to the customer, to the visitor. So they gave what the visitor wants, all right? So in this one, if you listen like halfway, you might write down the word bouncy castle, all right? But what about trampolines? So the distractor lines at until. So until. So at first they intended, right? At first they planned to install the bouncy castle. However, when they got the survey, the visitors told that they liked the trampolines more. So they decided to give what the customers want, which is the trampoline, right? So this is a very good distractor, a very trappy one. So if you don't pay good attention, if you cannot hear or identify the distractor, then you are going to have the wrong answer, unfortunately. Okay, so the correct one would be trout fishing lake and outdoor trampolines. Alright guys, so that's it for our lesson today. I hope you find this helpful and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!